The silenced pilot. Commander David Fravor was one of the most decorated FA-18 Super Hornet pilots in the U.S. Navy when his life was destroyed for 14 minutes of honesty. On November 14, 2004, Fravor encountered aircraft performing maneuvers that violated every known law of physics during a routine training mission off the coast of San Diego. When he reported what he saw, the military systematically dismantled his career and attempted to erase all evidence of his encounter. The object Fravor observed was roughly 40 feet long, white, and shaped like a tic-tac, with no visible wings, engines, or propulsion systems. It demonstrated capabilities that defied physics: instantaneous acceleration to hypersonic speeds, 90-degree turns at impossible velocities, and the ability to stop from thousands of miles per hour to complete stillness without any deceleration period. Fravor's wingman, Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate, corroborated every detail of the encounter. Both pilots attempted to intercept the object, but it outmaneuvered their FA-18s effortlessly, performing aerial maneuvers that would have generated G-forces exceeding 600 times Earth's gravity, forces that would destroy any known aircraft and instantly kill human pilots. The encounter was recorded on multiple military radar systems and captured on infrared video by Weapons Systems Officer Chad Underwood. The evidence was overwhelming and undeniable. Fravor and his squadron had encountered technology that exceeded human capabilities by centuries. When Fravor filed his incident report, military officials initially seemed supportive, conducting standard debriefings and collecting all recording equipment. But within 48 hours, the situation changed dramatically. Fravor was ordered to sign non-disclosure agreements, his flight records were classified, and he was transferred to a different squadron with orders never to discuss the encounter. The systematic silencing escalated when Fravor refused to stay quiet. His military medical records were suddenly discovered to contain psychological evaluations, suggesting he was prone to stress-induced hallucinations. Colleagues were instructed to distance themselves from him, and his fitness for flight duty was questioned despite his previously impeccable service record. When Fravor attempted to share his experience with other pilots, he found that his access to classified briefings was revoked, his security clearance was suspended, and he was reassigned to administrative duties that effectively ended his flying career. The message was clear: discuss the encounter and face professional destruction. The cover-up intensified when Fravor learned that the radar data and infrared recordings of his encounter had been confiscated by unknown officials who claimed to represent special collections units. His squadron's intelligence officers were ordered to delete all references to the incident from official logs and pretend it never occurred. Years later, when Fravor finally went public with his story, military officials attempted to discredit him by releasing selective portions of his medical records and suggesting he suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. However, his account was eventually corroborated by multiple witnesses and confirmed by previously classified Pentagon videos. Commander David Fravor's experience reveals the systematic methods used to silence military witnesses who encounter phenomena that challenge official narratives: professional destruction, medical gaslighting, security clearance revocation, and coordinated character assassination designed to destroy credibility and discourage others from speaking out. The destroyed geologist. Dr. Virginia Steen McIntyre was a respected geologist working for the U.S. Geological Survey when she made a discovery that would destroy her career and force her into decades of professional exile. In 1973, she used advanced dating techniques to determine that human artifacts at the Hueyatlaco archaeological site in Mexico were 250,000 years old, predating the accepted timeline of human migration to the Americas by over 200,000 years. Steen McIntyre's findings were based on multiple independent dating methods including uranium series dating, fission track dating, and tetrahydration analysis. All techniques confirmed the impossible age of the stone tools and human settlements, suggesting that modern humans had inhabited the Americas far earlier than established archaeological theory allowed. When she submitted her findings to the journal Quaternary Research, the editors initially accepted her paper for publication. However, within weeks of the acceptance, pressure from unnamed sources led to the paper's rejection. The editors claimed her dating methodology was flawed, but could provide no scientific evidence supporting their dismissal. The professional retaliation began immediately. Steen McIntyre's funding for further research was mysteriously withdrawn. Her laboratory access was restricted, and colleagues were advised to avoid collaboration with her. The U.S. Geological Survey reassigned her to projects unrelated to archaeological dating, effectively ending her career in prehistoric research. When Steen McIntyre attempted to present her findings at academic conferences, organizers consistently rejected her proposals, citing controversial interpretations and insufficient peer review. Major universities declined to host her lectures, and archaeological journals refused to publish her subsequent research regardless of its scientific rigor. The character assassination campaign intensified when anonymous articles appeared in archaeological publications, questioning Steen McIntyre's competence and suggesting she had misunderstood basic principles of geological dating. These attacks contained technical errors and misrepresentations of her methodology, but they succeeded in damaging her professional reputation. Independent verification of Steen McIntyre's work came from other geologists who confirmed her dating results using different analytical techniques. However, these researchers faced similar professional pressure and chose to remain silent rather than risk their careers supporting her findings. The most disturbing aspect of Steen McIntyre's silencing was the coordinated nature of the campaign against her. Universities, journals, funding agencies, and professional organizations all simultaneously turned against her, suggesting institutional coordination to suppress evidence that challenged established archaeological timelines. Decades later, when new dating techniques confirmed that humans had indeed inhabited the Americas far earlier than previously believed, Steen McIntyre's original findings were quietly vindicated. However, her career had been destroyed, and she never received acknowledgement or apology for the systematic campaign that silenced her. Dr. Virginia Steen McIntyre's experience demonstrates how the scientific establishment silences researchers whose discoveries threaten accepted theories. Funding elimination, publication blacklisting, conference exclusion, and professional isolation designed to destroy careers and discourage others from pursuing controversial research. The vanished nurse. In 1980, registered nurse Maria Gonzalez was working the night shift at Walter Reed Army Medical Center when she witnessed procedures that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Gonzalez observed what appeared to be autopsy examinations of non-human entities with anatomical features that suggested extraterrestrial origin. When she attempted to report what she saw, military authorities systematically destroyed her life and erased all evidence of her employment. Gonzalez had been working at Walter Reed for 3 years, with an exemplary record when she was assigned to assist with special medical procedures in a restricted section of the hospital. She was required to sign additional confidentiality agreements and undergo enhanced security screening before being granted access to the classified medical facility. During her first shift in the restricted area, Gonzalez observed medical personnel conducting detailed examinations of what appeared to be 3 non-human bodies. The entities were approximately 4 feet tall, with enlarged craniums, large dark eyes, and anatomical features that didn't correspond to any known terrestrial biology. The examination procedures followed standard medical protocols, but the findings were extraordinary. The entities possessed cardiovascular systems, respiratory systems, and nervous systems that functioned according to principles unknown to human biology. Their cellular structure showed characteristics that suggested adaptation to environmental conditions different from Earth. Gonzalez documented her observations in personal notes, believing she was witnessing breakthrough medical research that would revolutionize understanding of extraterrestrial biology. However, when she attempted to discuss her experiences with colleagues, she discovered that other staff members claimed no knowledge of the special procedures or restricted medical facility. The retaliation began when Gonzalez tried to obtain clarification from her supervisors about the nature of the examinations she had witnessed. Within days, her security clearance was suspended, her access to the restricted area was revoked, and she was transferred to routine nursing duties with no explanation. The systematic destruction of Gonzalez's career escalated when she persisted in asking questions about the non-human entities. Her nursing license was suspended following allegations of medication discrepancies that she claims were fabricated. Her personnel files were altered to include disciplinary actions that had never occurred during her employment. When Gonzalez attempted to seek legal assistance, she discovered that all documentation of her work in the restricted medical facility had been eliminated from Walter Reed's records. Her security badge access logs, work schedules, and payment records for the special assignments had been completely erased from hospital databases. The most chilling aspect of Gonzalez's silencing was the coordinated effort to convince her that her experiences were delusional. Military psychiatrists subjected her to involuntary psychological evaluations, administered psychoactive medications without her consent, and attempted to convince her family that she was suffering from stress-induced psychosis. Years later, when other whistleblowers came forward with similar accounts of extraterrestrial biological research at military medical facilities, Gonzalez's story gained credibility. However, her career in nursing had been destroyed. Her health had been damaged by forced psychiatric treatments, and her reputation had been permanently tainted. Maria Gonzalez's experience reveals the extreme measures used to silence medical witnesses who observe classified extraterrestrial research: security clearance revocation, career destruction, medical records falsification, psychiatric harassment, and institutional gaslighting designed to discredit testimony and destroy lives. The Erased Engineer. In 1987, electrical engineer Robert Scott was recruited by a classified government contractor to reverse engineer recovered technology that appeared to be of extraterrestrial origin. Scott's analysis revealed that the devices incorporated energy generation principles that could revolutionize human civilization. When he attempted to share his discoveries with the scientific community, government agents systematically erased his identity and eliminated all evidence of his work. Scott was selected for the classified project because of his expertise in advanced electromagnetic systems and his top-secret security clearance. The technology he was asked to analyze included devices that generated unlimited energy through unknown physical processes and materials that exhibited properties that violated known laws of physics. The recovered devices incorporated superconducting materials that operated at room temperature, energy conversion systems that achieved impossible efficiency levels, and propulsion mechanisms that manipulated gravitational fields. Scott's engineering analysis revealed that the technology was centuries ahead of human capabilities and suggested scientific principles that hadn't been discovered by terrestrial science. Scott documented his reverse engineering work in detailed technical reports that included schematics, material specifications, and theoretical analysis of the extraterrestrial technology's operating principles. His findings suggested that humans could develop unlimited clean energy, gravitational manipulation, and faster-than-light propulsion by understanding the recovered devices. When Scott's contract ended, he attempted to transition his classified research into civilian applications that could benefit humanity. He approached energy companies, aerospace manufacturers, and research institutions with proposals for developing the revolutionary technologies he had studied. The retaliation was swift and comprehensive. Scott's security clearance was revoked. His employment history was altered to remove all references to classified work, and government contractors were instructed never to hire him for any projects. His reputation in the engineering community was systematically destroyed through anonymous allegations of security violations and professional incompetence. The elimination of Scott's identity intensified when he persisted in attempting to commercialize the extraterrestrial technology. His social security records were modified, his educational transcripts were altered, and his professional certifications were suspended following fabricated ethics violations. When Scott attempted to publish his theoretical analysis of the extraterrestrial energy systems, academic journals refused his submissions, and patent applications were rejected on grounds of national security. Government agents confiscated his personal research materials during warrantless searches of his home and office. The most disturbing aspect of Scott's silencing was the systematic erasure of his existence. His name was removed from university alumni records, his published papers were deleted from technical databases, and colleagues were instructed to deny any knowledge of his work. He became a non-person whose extraordinary discoveries were eliminated along with his identity. Years later, when breakthrough technologies emerged that incorporated principles similar to those Scott had reverse engineered, he recognized his own work in devices that were presented as cutting-edge human innovations. However, he had been so thoroughly erased from history that he couldn't prove his prior discoveries. Robert Scott's experience demonstrates the ultimate silencing technique used against witnesses who threaten national security interests: complete identity erasure, historical revision, and the systematic elimination of all evidence that the person or their discoveries ever existed. The blacklisted historian. Dr. Eleanor Watson was a respected historian specializing in World War II documentation when she discovered evidence that major historical events had been deliberately falsified in official records. Her research revealed that key battles, political decisions, and casualty figures had been systematically altered to support post-war narratives that served specific political interests. When she attempted to publish her findings, academic institutions destroyed her career and eliminated her access to historical archives. Watson's discovery began when she found discrepancies between primary source documents and published historical accounts while researching at the National Archives. Military reports, diplomatic cables, and government communications showed evidence of systematic modification, with original documents containing information that contradicted established historical narratives. The altered records affected major aspects of World War II history, including battle outcomes, casualty figures, and political negotiations that shaped post-war international relations. Watson found evidence that certain battles had been deliberately misrepresented, that civilian casualties had been minimized or eliminated from records, and that secret agreements between Allied powers had been completely removed from historical documentation. Watson's research methodology was impeccable, involving cross-reference verification, document authentication, and comparison of multiple independent sources. Her findings were supported by physical evidence, including original documents that showed clear signs of alteration, modification, and selective editing. When Watson submitted her research to historical journals, editors consistently rejected her papers, despite acknowledging the quality of her scholarship. Review committees claimed her findings were too controversial and could damage public confidence in historical institutions if published. The professional retaliation escalated when Watson attempted to present her findings at academic conferences. Universities canceled her speaking engagements, professional organizations revoked her memberships, and colleagues distanced themselves from her work following institutional pressure. Watson's access to research materials was systematically eliminated when archives that had previously welcomed her research began denying her access to documents. Libraries claimed that materials she had previously studied were missing, being restored, or restricted for security reasons. The character assassination campaign against Watson included anonymous articles questioning her research methods, suggestions that she was mentally unstable, and accusations that she was promoting conspiracy theories rather than conducting legitimate historical research. When Watson attempted to establish independent research foundations to continue her work, potential funders were contacted by unknown officials who provided confidential information about her alleged unreliability and unprofessional conduct. Grants were withdrawn, speaking opportunities were canceled, and publishers refused to consider her manuscripts. The most chilling aspect of Watson's silencing was the discovery that other historians who had found similar evidence of historical falsification had also been systematically silenced through identical methods. The pattern suggested coordinated institutional efforts to prevent revision of official historical narratives. Dr. Eleanor Watson's experience reveals how academic institutions silence historians who threaten established narratives. Publication blacklisting, archive access denial, conference exclusion, and coordinated character assassination, designed to discredit research that challenges official versions of historical events. The terminated astronomer. Dr. Sarah Chen was a NASA astronomer working at the Goldstone Deep Space Communications Complex when she detected radio signals that appeared to be artificially generated transmissions from an extrasolar source. The signals contained mathematical patterns that suggested intelligent origin and technological capabilities exceeding human development. When Chen attempted to report her discovery, NASA officials destroyed her career and classified all evidence of the extraterrestrial communications. Chen's discovery occurred during routine monitoring of radio emissions from the Vega star system, when she detected structured signals that exhibited characteristics of deliberate transmission rather than natural cosmic phenomena. The signals contained prime number sequences, mathematical constants, and information patterns that indicated technological origin. Computer analysis revealed that the signals incorporated error correction codes, data compression algorithms, and transmission protocols that demonstrated advanced understanding of information theory and communications engineering. The sophistication of the signals exceeded human technological capabilities and suggested they originated from a civilization with scientific knowledge far beyond our current development. Chen followed proper NASA protocols for reporting potential extraterrestrial intelligence, documenting her findings with detailed analysis and requesting verification from independent sources. Her initial reports were received enthusiastically by NASA administrators who authorized expanded monitoring and analysis of the signals. However, when the verification studies confirmed that the signals were indeed of artificial origin and demonstrated impossible technological sophistication, NASA's response changed dramatically. Chen was ordered to discontinue her research, her access to radio telescope data was restricted, and her security clearance was suspended. The systematic silencing of Chen intensified when she attempted to share her discovery with the international scientific community. Her research data was confiscated, her computer access was terminated, and she was transferred to administrative duties that prevented her from conducting astronomical observations. When Chen persisted in attempting to publicize her discovery, NASA officials launched a character assassination campaign that included allegations of data falsification, suggestions that she had misinterpreted natural radio phenomena, and claims that her research methodology was fundamentally flawed. Independent astronomers who attempted to verify Chen's findings were denied access to the radio telescope data and informed that the observations contained classified information affecting national security. The signals themselves were declared off-limits to civilian scientific investigation. The most disturbing aspect of Chen's silencing was the discovery that similar extraterrestrial signals had been detected by other astronomers who had also been silenced through identical methods. The pattern suggested systematic suppression of evidence that humanity was receiving communications from advanced extraterrestrial civilizations. Years later, when Chen attempted to obtain her research data through Freedom of Information Act requests, NASA claimed that no records of her extraterrestrial signal research existed. Her work had been completely erased from official documentation, and her discoveries had been eliminated from NASA's database systems. Dr. Sarah Chen's experience demonstrates how scientific institutions silence researchers who make discoveries that threaten established paradigms. Data confiscation, security clearance revocation, research restriction, and institutional erasure designed to eliminate evidence of revolutionary discoveries. The deleted photographer. Professional photographer Marcus Rodriguez was documenting environmental changes in the Nevada desert when he accidentally photographed aircraft performing impossible maneuvers at the classified Area 51 facility. His images showed craft that defied known aerodynamic principles and appeared to use propulsion systems beyond human technology. When Rodriguez attempted to publish his photographs, government agents systematically destroyed his life and eliminated all evidence of his extraordinary documentation. Rodriguez was using high-resolution telephoto equipment to photograph desert landscapes when he noticed unusual aerial activity near the restricted military facility. His professional-grade cameras captured detailed images of disc-shaped aircraft, hovering motionless at impossible altitudes and accelerating to hypersonic speeds without visible propulsion systems. The photographs showed craft that violated fundamental principles of aerodynamics, displaying no wings, engines, or control surfaces, yet maintaining perfect stability and maneuverability. The images captured propulsion effects that appeared to manipulate gravity rather than relying on conventional thrust mechanisms. Rodriguez's equipment included GPS coordinates, time-stamped data, and technical specifications that authenticated the photographs and proved they were genuine documentation rather than manipulated images. The metadata confirmed the exact location, time, and camera settings for each photograph. When Rodriguez returned home and processed his images, he realized he had captured photographic evidence of technology that could revolutionize human civilization. He attempted to share his discovery with major news organizations, aerospace companies, and scientific institutions. The government response was immediate and overwhelming. Rodriguez's home was searched by federal agents who confiscated all his photographic equipment, computer systems, and storage devices. He was arrested on charges of photographing classified facilities and violating national security laws. During his detention, Rodriguez was subjected to intensive interrogation designed to determine how much he knew about the advanced aircraft and who else might have seen his photographs. Government psychologists attempted to convince him that he had photographed conventional military aircraft and that his perception of impossible technology was delusional. When Rodriguez was released, he discovered that his photography business had been destroyed through systematic client intimidation, equipment seizure, and professional discreditation. Former clients were told that he was unreliable and mentally unstable, causing them to cancel contracts and demand refunds. The elimination of Rodriguez's evidence intensified when he attempted to recreate his photographs using backup equipment. He found that access to the desert areas where he had witnessed the advanced aircraft was now restricted by military patrols who claimed he posed a security threat. The most chilling aspect of Rodriguez's silencing was the systematic erasure of his photographic work from all commercial and artistic venues. His images were removed from galleries, his published work was deleted from online databases, and his reputation in the photography community was permanently destroyed. Marcus Rodriguez's experience reveals the comprehensive methods used to silence civilian witnesses who obtained physical evidence of classified technology: equipment confiscation, arrest and detention, business destruction, reputation assassination, and systematic elimination of evidence designed to discourage others from documenting unauthorized phenomena. The discredited doctor. Dr. James Patterson was an emergency room physician who discovered that certain patients exhibited impossible recovery rates from injuries that should have been fatal or permanently disabling. His medical documentation revealed healing mechanisms that operated according to principles unknown to conventional medicine, suggesting that some humans possess biological capabilities that exceed normal physiological limits. When Patterson attempted to research these anomalous cases, medical authorities destroyed his career and eliminated his access to patient records. Patterson's observations began when he noticed that specific patients recovered from traumatic injuries at rates that violated established medical understanding of human healing capabilities. These individuals showed cellular regeneration, organ repair, and neurological recovery that exceeded what medical science considered possible. The anomalous cases included patients who recovered completely from spinal cord injuries that should have caused permanent paralysis, individuals who regrew damaged organs without medical intervention, and trauma victims who healed from injuries that typically resulted in death. The recovery patterns suggested biological mechanisms that operated outside normal human physiology. Patterson documented these cases with detailed medical records, diagnostic imaging, and laboratory analysis that confirmed the impossible nature of the healings. His documentation followed rigorous scientific protocols and was supported by multiple independent medical evaluations. When Patterson submitted his findings to medical journals, editors consistently rejected his papers, despite acknowledging the quality of his documentation. Review committees claimed his cases were statistical anomalies that didn't warrant publication or further investigation. The professional retaliation began when Patterson attempted to establish research protocols for studying the anomalous healing cases. His hospital privileges were suspended following allegations of unethical patient experimentation, and his medical license was reviewed by state regulatory boards. Hospital administrators prevented Patterson from accessing medical records related to the anomalous cases, claiming that patient privacy laws prohibited his research. Computer systems that had previously contained his documentation were updated in ways that eliminated his case files and research notes. When Patterson attempted to contact patients who had experienced anomalous healing, he discovered that their medical records had been transferred to classified military medical facilities. The patients themselves had been relocated and were no longer accessible for follow-up study. The character assassination campaign against Patterson included allegations that he had falsified medical records, suggestions that he was mentally unstable, and claims that his research violated ethical standards for human experimentation. These accusations were supported by fabricated evidence that was inserted into his professional files. The most disturbing aspect of Patterson's silencing was the discovery that other physicians who had documented similar anomalous healing cases had also been systematically silenced through identical methods. The pattern suggested coordinated efforts to suppress evidence of advanced human biological capabilities. Dr. James Patterson's experience demonstrates how medical institutions silence physicians who document phenomena that challenge established biological understanding. Medical license suspension, hospital privilege revocation, patient record confiscation, and professional discreditation, designed to prevent research into anomalous human capabilities. The censored journalist. Investigative journalist Lisa Martinez was researching government funding of classified research projects when she uncovered evidence of experiments involving human consciousness manipulation, time perception alteration, and psychic ability enhancement. Her investigation revealed that intelligence agencies had developed technologies capable of modifying human awareness and cognitive function in ways that violated ethical standards and constitutional rights. When Martinez attempted to publish her findings, media organizations systematically destroyed her career and eliminated all documentation of her research. Martinez's investigation began when she noticed discrepancies in government budget allocations that suggested funding for research projects that weren't acknowledged in official documentation. Financial records showed payments to contractors for consciousness research, temporal perception studies, and cognitive enhancement programs. Through Freedom of Information Act requests and source interviews, Martinez documented evidence that government agencies had conducted human experiments involving psychoactive drugs, electromagnetic field manipulation, and psychological conditioning techniques designed to alter consciousness and enhance psychic abilities. The research programs had achieved breakthrough results in remote viewing, telepathic communication, and precognitive awareness that suggested human consciousness possessed capabilities far beyond conventional understanding. The programs had been classified because of their potential for intelligence applications and social control. Martinez's sources included former researchers, experimental subjects, and government officials who provided documentation, proving that the consciousness manipulation programs had achieved extraordinary results while violating ethical standards for human experimentation. When Martinez submitted her investigation to major news organizations, editors consistently rejected her stories, despite acknowledging the credibility of her sources and documentation. Publishers claimed her findings were too speculative and could damage national security if published. The systematic destruction of Martinez's career began when media organizations were contacted by government officials who provided confidential information about her alleged unreliability and security risks. News outlets canceled her assignments, publishers rejected her book proposals, and colleagues distanced themselves from her work. Martinez's sources were systematically intimidated through career destruction, legal harassment, and personal threats that prevented them from providing further information or corroborating her findings. Government employees who had assisted her investigation were transferred, demoted, or forced into early retirement. When Martinez attempted to establish independent media platforms to publish her investigation, she encountered systematic censorship through internet service provider restrictions, payment processor blocks, and distribution platform bans that prevented her from reaching audiences. The most chilling aspect of Martinez's silencing was the discovery that other journalists who had investigated similar consciousness research programs had also been systematically silenced through identical methods. The pattern suggested coordinated efforts to prevent public awareness of advanced consciousness manipulation technologies. Lisa Martinez's experience reveals how media institutions are used to silence journalists who investigate classified consciousness research. Assignment cancellation, source intimidation, publication blocking, and platform censorship designed to prevent public awareness of advanced human consciousness capabilities and government experiments. The destroyed teacher. High school physics teacher Robert Kim discovered that his advanced students could demonstrate psychokinetic abilities when exposed to specific electromagnetic frequencies during laboratory experiments. Kim's documentation revealed that human consciousness could directly influence physical systems in measurable ways, suggesting that psychic phenomena operate according to scientific principles rather than supernatural mechanisms. When Kim attempted to publish his findings, educational authorities destroyed his career and eliminated all evidence of his classroom research. Kim's discovery occurred during advanced physics experiments when he noticed that electronic equipment behaved differently when certain students were present. The sensitive instruments showed unexplained variations that correlated with the students' emotional states and levels of concentration. Systematic testing revealed that specific students could influence random number generators, affect electronic circuits, and even alter the behavior of quantum measurement devices through focused mental intention. The effects were small but statistically significant and followed consistent patterns that suggested reproducible phenomena. Kim documented his findings with rigorous experimental protocols, statistical analysis, and video documentation that proved his students were demonstrating genuine psychokinetic abilities. His methodology followed standard scientific procedures and was designed to eliminate possible sources of error or fraud. When Kim submitted his research to physics education journals, editors rejected his papers without peer review, claiming that psychokinetic phenomena fall outside the scope of legitimate scientific inquiry. Academic conferences refused to accept his presentations on similar grounds. The professional retaliation began when Kim attempted to establish collaboration with university researchers who might study his students' abilities. School administrators prevented him from conducting further experiments, restricted his access to laboratory equipment, and prohibited him from discussing his findings with other educators. Kim's teaching contract was terminated following allegations that he was promoting pseudoscience and exposing students to harmful experimental procedures. The accusations were supported by fabricated reports claiming that parents had complained about his research methodology. When Kim attempted to continue his research at other institutions, he discovered that educational authorities had circulated warnings about his unprofessional conduct and inappropriate experimental activities. No school district would consider his employment applications. The elimination of Kim's evidence intensified when school officials confiscated all documentation related to his psychokinetic research and claimed that student privacy laws prohibited him from retaining experimental data. His computer files were deleted and his research materials were destroyed. The most disturbing aspect of Kim's silencing was the discovery that his students who had demonstrated psychokinetic abilities were transferred to different schools, and their families were relocated to prevent further contact with researchers interested in studying their capabilities. Robert Kim's experience demonstrates how educational institutions silence teachers who discover advanced human capabilities. Research prohibition, contract termination, professional blacklisting, and evidence destruction designed to prevent development of human consciousness enhancement programs that might threaten established social control systems. Conclusion. These 10 cases reveal the systematic methods used to silence witnesses who encounter phenomena that threaten established narratives or institutional authority. The pattern is identical across all cases: initial support, followed by sudden hostility, professional destruction through fabricated allegations, systematic elimination of evidence, and coordinated character assassination. The methods have evolved into a sophisticated science operating through multiple coordinated institutions. Medical records are falsified, security clearances are revoked, academic access is denied, and professional reputations are destroyed through carefully orchestrated campaigns that leave no fingerprints but achieve total destruction. The extreme measures taken to silence these witnesses prove that extraordinary phenomena are not only real, but actively suppressed by coordinated efforts spanning government agencies, academic institutions, media organizations, and professional associations. The witnesses paid the ultimate price for their honesty, the destruction of their careers, reputations, and lives. Their sacrifice reveals a world where truth is less important than control, where evidence matters less than narrative, and where witnesses to impossible phenomena face systematic destruction. The question isn't whether these discoveries are real. The desperate efforts to silence those who witness them prove their authenticity. The question is how many more witnesses will be destroyed to protect secrets that could transform our understanding of reality itself.